Hey everyone! So for those of you who don't know us, we are coaches at Slade Fit Club. This is Coach Taylor, Coach Kara, I'm Coach Becca. Slade Fit Club is located right outside of Austin, Texas. And this is What Do You Slay? So basically our intentions are to bring up topics, conversations that we kind of already chat about in our gym, all the most common questions, maybe myths, maybe not myths, maybe they're facts. We're all personal trainers. We're all certified personal trainers. Coach Kara and Coach Taylor are also certified nutritional coaches, and I'm a certified functional strength and conditioning coach. So we all kind of have our own niches, our own backgrounds. So hopefully we bring some good, interesting opinions to the table. So speaking of, some of the things that we say are opinions. Probably a lot of the things we will say will be opinions, so don't come at us. But some things we will have facts. They will be true, just based on our history of training, coaching, and all the things. So yeah, it's just a conversation with the Sladies. So to kick us off, our very first episode, our very first topic is about the diet culture.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what brought us to talking about the diet culture is we are all actually going to be doing the Whole30. I've already started, and then Taylor, Kara, and one of our friends / clients is also going to be joining us as well. So we're just going to take a deep dive into what the Whole30 is, why we like it, why we don't, maybe what our reservations are, and go from there. So what is the Whole30 diet? Do you guys want to call it a diet?
A lot of people call it a diet.
Yeah, I would say that's what it's known as.
Whole30, probably like a crash.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not something that people probably sustain for
Long term.
For a long term, right?
Longer than 30 days.
Probably not.
What it is basically is it's kind of clearing your system. So I would say the gist is no sugar, no dairy, no grain, no legumes, which is like your beans, your chickpeas. What
Peanuts,
else?
soy.
No, peanuts, soy.
It's basically
Canola
an
oil.
anti-inflammatory diet. So
Yeah.
taking away common inflammatory foods,
No
clearing that
artificial
inflammation.
sweeteners.
Yeah, no sweeteners, no artificial, no added sugar. So
Technically no maple sugar
right,
or
no
honey
honey
either.
which may be a little hardcore.
Okay, it seems like a lot. It really does. I've done this in the past, definitely one time in its entirety, which we'll get into, and probably 2 or 3 times with my own little rules applied. Taylor,
Yeah.
you've done it once.
Same thing, once for 30 days, and then kind of the same thing. We're very similar layout, maybe a little bit different rules.
Yeah.
I have not done that.
First time.
Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about maybe why we like the Whole30 and why we don't like the Whole30.
Yeah.
Why you've never done it. I personally was super not for it. My sister-in-law asked me to do it back in college, and I was like, no. You have to have grain. You need bread.
Yeah.
No. So I didn't do it. But then I got educated. I actually went without cheese for 6 months. That was like my first trying to do something without, because I knew it was causing me like crazy burping, super bloaty. So after I was able to do that, I was like, okay, well, I can kick out some more things and see what happens. And the first time I did it, I felt so good. But like I was telling Coach Taylor a couple days ago, 2 weeks in, so it's 30 days, 4 weeks, give or take. The last 2 weeks I was so mad.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to eat. And I'm like, I'm a grown woman. I got my own money now. You tell me I can't go get a cake when I want to go get a cake. You know?
Right.
So it's hard, but I think that's the point, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a diet for us. It's more like a fun challenge that's also healthy,
Yeah.
in my
I
opinion.
think it's like a reset, a little bit of a reset, or it really help reduce inflammation in the body. I was at the grocery store just the other day and thinking about like some people don't even know what it's like to feel good in their body. So, and I was just like, that was kind of an epiphany for me to be like, wow, this is a great way to kind of know what that feels like, but it definitely takes discipline. And to accept the change and maybe know what your body could feel like when it feels really good.
Yeah.
And this is a great program that could help you get there, or even educate on how to get there, and then incorporate some ways to kind of keep some of those parts that can be sustainable for your life. So I think once you kind of, it's like trying cake for the first time. Like, you know, those 1-year-olds, they have their first birthday and they're like, oh my God, cake is amazing, you know? I think in some way it's like, wow, this feels really good. Like, sometimes it's hard to go back or think like, if I put that in my body, it has to be a choice of what you're gonna feel like afterwards. So I think that kind of plays into it a little bit.
No, I absolutely agree. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
If you've never felt it.
I think that's what I like about it is the educational component, because you have to read the labels, you have to see like, oh, my milk has sugar added to it, like all these foods that we just consume on a day-to-day basis, and then you start reading the labels and you start realizing, oh, all this packaged food, it's processed and it doesn't make you feel good, it makes you lethargic, and then once you have that out of your system, you're like, well, why am I going to intentionally feel that way, like now that I'm on the other side?
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest positive takeaway from it, is like what you can potentially feel that you've never felt before.
Definitely. Yeah, and being open to like not having bread.
Yeah.
I just never imagined being able to have a sandwich or not having lunch without a sandwich. Like, you know, the staples that you have always grown up with.
Yeah.
And now we're creative. We use potato
Sweet
instead
potatoes,
of,
And I think that it's never not. You can never not have that again, because then that's what makes it the you know, the dreadful diet thought, you know, I even just was having those thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine not having honey for, you know, so many days. But it's like, oh, come on, you know, like it's just a 30-day, let's just start it out. It's not forever, so don't go there, but just like, you can do anything for a short amount of time, you know, and it's just a little bit, and then you incorporate some of those things back, and maybe you eliminate some of the things that you're like, I'm not gonna put that back in to my diet.
Yeah, I will say the first time I did it was the hardest.
Absolutely.
And then now I do, at least during the week, try to eat as much as I can Whole30.
Yeah.
Because that's when I work out the most. I want to feel the best for my workout. So
I think we all eat like that.
Similar.
We're very similar, like pretty gluten-free, very clean during the week. It's those weekends when, you know, you want that cheap meal, or I thoroughly enjoy a margarita on the weekends.
Yeah, one of Kara's rules might be one margarita.
I might keep my one margarita.
Sustainability, people.
Right.
That's what it's all about. What could be potentially dangerous about the Whole30? I think obviously the restrictive part is dangerous.
I think you can become obsessive. If you already have not a very healthy relationship with food, this can make you overly, oh my gosh, I can't eat this, or I can't eat that, or, you know, and then you're like that friend, we're like, whoa, like we can't hang out at all because you're freaked out about food, or just the mentality. It can really mess with your mind if you do not have a strong understanding or mindset to be able to control and have that relationship with food. So I think anything, we don't like the word diet. Like, that's not sustainable. Diet means like it has an end in a lot of ways. So that's why we're like, diet. But this for us will have an end, just because for our happiness and sustainability and our fitness goals, we can't be that strict. I mean, that doesn't bring, knowing from competing, that is not my happy place. Like, I need a margarita once in a while. You need a sandwich, you know?
Clearly.
Maybe my sandwich.
So I think that it's a very extreme. So I think that could be the negative of it, because it's not, I mean, maybe it's sustainable for some people, but it's pretty strict.
I think that's what it's called, the Whole30. Like, it's only meant to be for 30 days for that reset. You know, but you're exactly right. I think if you want to try to sustain it, that's where it can get negative.
I mean, it's just like the concept of like having good food versus bad food, like versus moderation and your day to day. So.
So how do we approach it? Like,
plan.
Yeah.
We're planning. Like, I'm starting this next week, and I'm already all this week researching, like, what is my grocery list gonna be? What am I gonna make? Because as soon as I don't have that, I will be like, oh, I'm just gonna have this, or oh, it's not gonna be, like I want to be prepared.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like a all or nothing. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But I
Yes,
want to
a
be
margarita.
prepared. Yeah.
Just a
Let's
margarita.
go margarita. Maybe a little honey.
No, that's so true. I think Taylor and I agree that you have to stay prepared, and
Yes.
you're gonna eat a lot more than you're used to.
That was
Yes.
one thing. So our friend who's gonna join us, she was like, oh, so I don't have to count my macros or the calories? And I'm like, nope, like not at all. Like if you stick with this, eat as many vegetables and protein and whatever you can fit, fruit. I mean, all of that is so good. So, which makes it less stressful in a lot of ways. Like you're
That's
not
true.
becoming obsessive of macros and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But like eat to how you feel. Like we coach this a lot. Is like, are you feeling full? Then you stop eating. I teach this to my child. Like. Because you're full, you don't have to eat the whole cupcake, like
True.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Well, I think it gives you good insight too into like what real portions of like volume eating compared to calorie eating, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can have a whole plate full of vegetables and be like, oh, okay, now I'm super full. Or you can have like a little thing of fries and be like, I feel kind of gross from that because the caloric intake on those fries is going to be much more significant compared to your whole plate of vegetables.
Absolutely.
And you're used to portioning things out. So, I mean, the first time I did it, I was starving for like the first week because we were eating so clean.
Yeah.
But you don't have all those fillers. You don't have the bread. You
Yeah.
don't have the things that
Yeah.
make you feel full initially.
And
Which
you
is
can
not
eat
bad.
more.
Yeah, I love eating.
We
So,
love
yeah,
eating.
great. Give me
No
more.
problem. You say more, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your snacks do become different too.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing this with men.
Because they need significantly
They need
more.
a lot more food.
Yeah.
I will say Danny was like, he would put a banana and then the whole other half of the plate was covered in almond butter. And he would just eat that.
Because he's so hungry.
Yes.
So hungry.
Hungry, lots of
Hangry.
hard-boiled eggs.
yeah.
Homemade dressings, I think, is probably a
The
good
sauces.
key too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
They
just
will
looking
save
at
you.
it. I think.
But fortunately, this is such a common diet or, protocol that people follow that there's a lot of brands like Primal Kitchen that cater to this now.
Yeah.
I'm on Thrive Market and I just put in an order and you can get like barbecue sauce, buffalo sauce, dressings, vinaigrettes. Like you could obviously make it, or if you're in a pinch, you don't want to cook all that up, then at least you can have things that are compliant with it and keep you on track.
There's a lot of resources than when this first came out.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh man, I gotta really be Susie Homemaker, make my own mayonnaise and everything.
Yeah.
And so now there's a lot of resources, like you're saying, to be able to make it a little easier. But I mean, Becca knows this. Sauces are, some of us are sauce people.
Especially if you're not eating cheese. The sauces are
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
You need
So I
the
think
flavor.
you definitely, like, I'm planning on like, what are my sauces that are gonna go with my chicken, my fish, and my steak for the week. So that's just how I think as well.
I think another thing, maybe another setback would be the grocery bill. It's expensive. Like right off the cuff, you're probably going to be spending more at the grocery, but you're not eating out. One time I did it and I have one of those like budget trackers and I actually spent 19% less money over that month. So even though the bill was more, the grocery bill, I saved money on obviously like
Because you're
not
not
eating out, not drinking.
Not drinking.
Which is a big budget killer
Right.
for us. So that's something I would probably just make sure you kind of switch your budgeting around a lot more for the grocery, at least for that month, but you will be saving money in the long run. Yeah.
I think one thing that we're deviating, or at least I'm going to be deviating from, is like, I think one of the initial rules was no cheat meals out of compliant ingredients. So, you can make like pancakes out of banana and egg. Like, I don't have a problem with pancakes. So I'm probably going to make that just to have fun foods and make it enjoyable. Like, but I could see if you have a association of bad foods or good foods, how maybe that would go against the challenge.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, and it's like for me, after I have dinner, I immediately want a sweet
Ice cream.
So breaking that habit is so hard. That first week, it's like I can't have it and I'm just craving it so much. I think that goes into that, like if I let myself have that banana.
It's like a spiral.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I will spiral.
So here's something I've heard. Again, I don't know if it's factual, but it's what I heard is that when I was competing, like your taste buds regrow. And so when you don't have sugar, that, you know, your taste buds won't crave that as much. But also when you do have it again, it is like, whoa, so sweet in your mouth. Like when you have it.
dopamine.
Yeah, it just changes. So something I've heard, but I don't know if it's super factual, that how often your taste buds regrow on your tongue.
Maybe
to
it's
where,
in the book.
We're gonna do our research a little bit.
Look it up. So Kara, it's your first time doing it. So tell us why you've never done it before.
Okay.
And then I'll ask you your next question.
So I think I learned quite a bit competing. I like deprived myself a lot of like no eating out, no drinking when I was prepping for competitions, and I did that for almost a full year. So I know in my mind kind of what that extreme is, and I wasn't very happy. I mean, like I was doing it because I was trying to achieve something in my goal, but like why I coach and created Slade Fit Club was to find sustainability. So I feel like I've learned from both extremes of super strict restricted diet, but then also just like, hey, I like my margarita once in a while. Like I'm gonna eat a cookie once in a while. So I found my balance that I think is pretty clean and pretty sustainable for me. Could I clean it up here and there? Absolutely, yeah. And so right now it's like great. I'll clean it up for a little bit, but I can't be that strict because that's not what makes me happy. And I'm all about like live life and enjoy it, but like there's times when you can be this strict and clean it up and feel great, and then there's times where like I'm gonna eat a burger, I mean my fries, and leave me alone. Like
leave me alone.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
Don't at me right now. So I think that's why. Like I found my balance.
You kind of did it in a different way.
In a way different way, and kind of in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
Because I saw that being on something so restricted, I did this for like 3 months of this strict, that it really messes with your mind. And then when you like, you know, I didn't come off of it well, and you just like dump all that crap back in your body, like your gut is like, ooh man, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? You know, so it kind of really can mess you up from the inside. So I've learned a lot, and I know where my limits are from happiness and what my body likes and doesn't like.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about to try? Like, why are you excited at all?
Yeah.
Or do you just feel peer pressured?
I actually didn't want to do this.
Right? No, I think, I mean, like, ideally, I think I would love to lower my body fat percentage. I mean, it's not huge on the top of my list, but I mean, yeah, I think any woman would love to lose and, you know, lean out a little bit more. So, you know, let's lean out a little bit more. Cool. You know, add to that.
Yeah. So we have a segment. What do you slay? Red or green flag? So essentially, one of us is going to shout broad topics or maybe a word or a phrase, and we will all say whether it's a red flag, so meaning
we don't agree with it,
don't
recommend it maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or green flag, which would be good.
Thumbs up.
Good, agree, we're with it, we're for it.
Yep.
So Taylor and I came up with these for our first segment. Kara has no idea what they are. And we'll just see where this takes us. This will be fun. Okay, red or green flag? No carb diet.
No.
Red flag.
Red flag. Do we need to expand on that?
Damn. Eat carbs, people.
I mean, you need carbs for energy,
Yeah.
for hormone health. There's
So much.
Yeah. I think the quality of your carbs probably matter more
Yeah.
than restricting a certain food group or a macro.
Yeah.
100%.
And going into the Whole30, there's no green allowed, but that's not necessarily your only carb source, and I think that's important to address too.
Yeah.
Carb sources are actually a lot of fruit and vegetables,
Potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Oh, we can whip some of those up,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Okay, red or green flag, reduced fat condiments.
Red flag.
Red flag. Yeah,
Yellow flag.
You're throwing a flag over there.
I'm gonna give you a card.
I don't know enough to answer, so I'm going yellow.
Okay.
I actually saw this documentary about this, how they talked about this, and it talked about like the phase where low fat became a thing, where they were saying like well, this is again what this documentary said, and I think I agree with them, is that if the sugar is the problem of all the sugar in our foods and that whole industry. But they kind of like switched it and turned it to what the fats were, where we actually think fats are good, like whole fats or whole milk, if you can handle it, depending on your body and what you can do. But fats are better, like it helps the brain, helps your gut, your joints, all of that. So that it's an interesting document. I'll have to try and remember what it is if y'all are interested. But it tells you the history of certain diet trends, and one was this low fat thing. So I would say no to low fat, and I would say get the regular full fat.
Well, because typically if they're reducing the fat to make it like a diet food or healthier per se, like typically there's a chemical or something in there to help stabilize it and to make it taste good. And I mean, we're doing the Whole30. Like, I would rather have whole foods as opposed to chemicals that are lower in calorie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good point. Okay, red or green flag? Red meat.
Green flag.
Green. Yeah.
Red meat's good, people.
Yeah. Moderation.
Yeah.
Everything's in moderation. We ain't eating ribeyes every day. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I love a steak every so often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and again, quality. Like, quality matters. So, is it low quality? Is it full of salt, sugar? I mean,
good quality meats.
it's bioavailable, so it's easier for, like, humans are made to digest it and break it down, as opposed to, again, these alternative, maybe like the garden burgers we're seeing, right? Like the Impossible Burger is making a huge splash right now, and it's like, but what's it made out of? And a lot of it is fillers, soy, GMO ingredients that can't be good for you.
So there's your red flag.
Definitely.
Impossible burger.
Yeah. So no for me.
Okay, so then on that same page, red or green flag? Eggs.
Green flag.
Yeah.
Green flag.
Those are great. Yeah.
For the same reasons.
Eat your eggs. So again, I love documentaries. There's a whole documentary on eggs, like
How long is that?
it's awesome.
5 hours.
But it tells you the difference
Perfect.
between, like, actually I think it was maybe it was Joe Rogan perhaps was talking about like the benefits of the yolk and the fats in it. It was some kind of podcast I was watching, and like how much he was talking with some guy who was like saying like such the minerals and all the good things that are actually in the yolk, where a lot of bodybuilders are like, oh, we're just gonna eat the egg whites, but like we're going back to the fats thing. Like, y'all need good fats, and when you get a good quality egg, the fat content in that yolk is really great for you.
The yolk is my favorite part anyways.
Oh yeah.
You can't tell me to eat egg white.
Well, I feel like there's like a time and a place, right? Like, are your goals performance based? Are your goals aesthetic? Like, you want to look better?
Yeah.
Then like maybe that's where you moderate at, but like as a whole,
in general,
it's totally healthy, fine food.
Eat an egg. Yeah.
Okay. Red or green flag? Cheat meals.
Green. Hell
yeah! I'm gonna say
red flag.
Red flag.
What? Y'all ladies, are you crazy?
No,
okay.
This is how you approach a cheat meal, right? Like, I don't want to think again of my food being good or bad. Like, I'm gonna moderate. Should I be having ice cream every night? No. But do I want to think of like cheating on my lifestyle? Like, no. I'm just gonna find a way to include foods that I like.
So are you talking about using the word as cheat meal, or actually eating out of like a such clean regimen?
I think
Yeah,
it's the
that's the
label
question.
of it.
Okay,
Like,
so
what
if
the
we're talking
connotation
about the
is.
word cheat meal, I think it's kind of like yellow. We're gonna say yellow because it just depends on how you process it in your mind. If
Yeah.
it's all or nothing, you know? I think like I eat a burger every week, no problem. Like I thoroughly enjoy it, but that's like my balance. Or if I'm craving something, because I eat clean all week, I'm craving chocolate, I'm gonna go get something chocolate and like smash that craving, and then it's done, and then I don't need that for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that's how I deal with my cheat meal, is the whatever I'm craving, feed it instead of shoving it down, because when you shove it and you don't listen to it, it comes out as like the biggest beast ever, and then you're here eating this whole cake or whatever you're grabbing for all the things.
Yeah.
Versus like if you just ate the one thing you wanted, then it was over, instead of like, oh, I have some popcorn here and that didn't satisfy it, and I'll this here or that here. You go through all the things.
I think about the meal, like the really true like macro people, and then they have like their Saturday or their Sunday, and it's a full cheat day.
Right.
And from what I've seen and the people that are doing the cheat, it basically negates everything they did throughout the entire week.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I was thinking of, is like that type of crash, big cheat, satiating, nasty, like fat-filled
Just
stuff
like super extreme.
that kind of takes away all the work you did in that previous week.
Okay, I think I have to go a little against what you're saying now. So from my experience of competing, like I was eating very clean, and this was early on in the 3-month journey, is that my body was like a machine. Like my metabolism was like on fire. So I went and I ate my burger, and my body ate it like that, like no problem. It probably gave me more energy because I was eating so lean. But again, you just kind of look at it from different perspectives. You know, like it depends on A, how you mentally think about food, but B, like where your body is currently. Like if you're in a weight loss journey and you don't have that self-control or able to like stop yourself, or be like, I'm just gonna eat the burger with a side salad. Like you want the burger, the shake, the French fries, the Oreo, whatever. You don't have that control, then you should not do that probably. But if you can have the mental control, then I think it's fine.
All right, last one. Red or green flag? Counting macros.
Okay.
I'm going
I'm
red.
gonna say yellow. I think there's a time and a place, because as nutrition coaches, the more specific you can be in what you're consuming, the amount of it, the more quickly you're gonna see progress likely, because you're just gonna have all these things tuned in versus kind of playing the guessing game of maybe how much energy you're consuming, how much you're burning. But if that's not your goal, is to gain muscle, to lose body fat, then maybe that's not an appropriate place to be thinking about that necessarily, or to be consumed by it. Probably is more likely what we would see is people that become maybe obsessed with it, or that takes over their relationship with food, in which case it'd be a red flag.
Yeah, I think exactly what she said. But it also, we've seen that it really educates them on like, oh wow, I eat a lot of this and not a lot of this, and so I need to like change those ratios. Like I know all of us, we already do that in our head. Like we are kind of masters of that. So when we're putting our meals together, or we already know all day what we've eaten and know what we are lacking in for our dinner, to where like, oh, I didn't get a lot of fats today, I gotta add an avocado to my dinner. Or like, hey, I ate a lot of carbs, so let's ixnay the carb. Like we already do that in our head, but we've had years of experience of doing this in our profession. So I think it's like where you're at in your journey of learning about macros, or where you're at mentally handling that much data information. So I agree with Coach Taylor, like it's a yellow flag.
I would say red flag for starters. I think like if you're just getting started with your fitness journey, counting macros is the least of your concerns. Like it should be consistency with your exercise and eating in general.
For sure. And this is another chat of ours is we are going to talk about women not eating enough.
Yeah.
We call them reverse dieters because boy, it is a passionate subject of ours, especially. I don't
want to be 45 hours long.
Lots to say all about not eating enough.
So as you can see, this is not so red and green, black and white. There's a lot of like mixed areas, gray areas, and I think it's all about finding balance.
Yeah.
Even with the Whole30, you know, Taylor has her little version. Kara has her margarita. I'm probably gonna have a couple oils in there that may not be what it's supposed to be, but I think that's what it comes down to, is finding what works for you, maybe having that little healthy refresh, reset, and then living a life that is
fulfilling and makes you happy.
Yeah.
It's too short. Don't sweat the small stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
That's right. But at the same time, 30 days is not that long.
Yeah, 30 days is not that long. We can do this. We're talking ourselves out of it right now.
Should we go have a margarita?
Right, let's go get that margarita in one more time.
All right, well, thanks for joining us on our first episode of
What do you slay?
What do you slay?
What do you slay? Bye, y'all. Thank you.